just coming up the panel discussion, and I think we have now a good time reserved for that. So we have 27 minutes reserved for the panel discussion, which will be around the metaverse builders, who should educate them and why. And Märt shall take over as the moderator, and I will shut up and let the experts speak. So take over, Märt.
Great. Oh, hello, everybody. So I'll really read up everyone's introductions really quickly so we can get right to business, and you guys can just fill in if I miss something. So Raimond is from Tartu University, one of the educators side on this panel, Junior Research Fellow of Computer Graphics Education. Vladimir is from 2 places now, Research of Confirmed Smart Manufacturing Center in Ireland and Head of Industrial Virtual and Augmented Reality Lab at Taltech in Estonia. So Rein, we just heard of, he's a co-founder, creative director at Maro VR Productions. And Vlad Funtikov, of course, is the CEO of Creative Mobile, probably the biggest company here. And I'd actually like to start with him, that how do you think about talent training in your company over time? Like, and do you see a need to balance junior versus mid versus senior developers? That's kind of the logic that, you know, if you have a lot of things to do, then there are some things that are more boring that you would want to delegate to juniors, and they could also be grown at the same time. How do you think long term about the flow of people through your company?
Well, thank you, Mark. You basically answered my question for me, because that's pretty close to how we approach it. We like to have senior guys on our team. We like to have world-class, almost one-of-a-kind type of people, obviously, because they bring lots of value. They can minimize the cost of some expensive mistakes. But ultimately, the way we look at it is based on tasks. We have specific tasks, we have specific requirements emanating from the products or project teams. And then based on that, we have specific positions that we need to fill. So for example, if we're looking to raise the bar for graphics or performance in the game, then we probably want to have one of the best guys in the business doing this, because the margin for error is really tiny and the impact can be really scalable. But at the same time, we say we have a level designer who needs help populating locations with props and maybe doing some secondary gameplay systems. Then that's an amazing job for a junior guy, because he's going to learn rapidly. He's going to be really impactful. A senior guy probably wouldn't be learning doing this for the 20th time. He probably wouldn't be really impactful if you look at his full potential and, you know, the impact he can make here. Also, last but not least, we find that junior guys really bring hunger and energy that kind of propagates across the team. So that's also really useful. I'm not saying that, you know, every senior guy is not motivated, right? Because we're so, you know, experienced. I mean, look at me, I don't look like I'm not motivated to be doing this. It's just that there's something about youth and fresh perspectives on things. So typically we end up with a mix, but that's not because we designed the system to be, you know, X juniors, X seniors. It's just that the requirements of products kind of dictate this for us.
That's in a way, I don't know if all products in all phases of companies are kind of this lucky, if you will. I feel like some companies just want to get the most senior guys all the time, especially when they're young. But yeah, that's very nice to hear. So this means, follow-up question, which now gets us to the education part, I hope, is what are the best entry points or skill sets, in your opinion, for juniors to enter the industry? And we're talking about whether XR industry or game industry here, and how to get those skills. And do those juniors really come from schools, or do you get them from hackathons, or just any other way? To Vlad as well, and then we go to school part.
There is no pattern, honestly. We've had some amazing success stories with guys joining as interns from schools. One of my guys joined us 4 years ago. I think he was 18 at the time, if I'm not mistaken, 18 or 19, as an intern. And then he was interviewed after, I think, a year or so to join the core team. And he's a senior artist now. And by senior, I mean, it's a pretty high standard. So it's not relatively senior. It's a pretty important position, because he had the hunger, had the skill set, had the talent. Obviously, that's one of the best career paths one wish for, coming through the, let's say, academic environment and then getting this internship and then progressing to full employment and then senior positions. But this is not the most common case. We have guys coming in with just private projects, open source projects that has a lot of weight on the resume. We like people with proven track record of actually building stuff, actually collaborating with other people, because ultimately, and this is something some students and junior specialists often miss or kind of don't understand intuitively, is that we do not hire people because they possess certain skills, right? We don't hire people because they can code or can design. It's the ability to deploy these skills within a specific context that really matters to us. Like, yes, you can write great code, but how is your communication like? Can you talk to other people? Can you write great documentation? Can you read this documentation? What is your business sense like? Do you understand why you're here? Do you understand that you're building something for the end user? How is your planning like? So it's a mix of hard and soft skills, and people who are working on private projects or even hackathons, like especially extended hackathons, don't just the quick ones, but the ones where you actually have to kind of persevere, push through, grind through, make compromise. They typically demonstrate that they have this T-shaped kind of competency, which we would like.
Thank you. Now let's skip over to Raimond, who I know is basically working on figuring out the curriculum on teaching VR game development, if I'm correct. Maybe Raimond, you'd like to explain a bit what you are, how that's going, and what is most important to you when you're trying to figure that out.
Yes, so that's absolutely true. So right now we are planning and designing a curriculum, a bachelor level 3-year curriculum that would, well, we currently are calling it like a game developer, video game developer designer. So our vision at the moment is to have one curriculum for both of these professions, and they can specialize in either development or the design part of video games. And of course, virtual reality and extended reality is a part of it as well. So you introduced me as this research fellow of computer graphics education. So that, yes, that's my official title, but I'm also the head of the computer graphics and virtual reality lab here in the University of Tartu. And the goal here is of this lab is to provide students who like to develop interactive real-time software, video games, a place to also work on VR, also work on computer graphics algorithms if they are so inclined. But when it comes to the curriculum, then our current process is serving the companies here in Estonia. And again, we have this a bit broader spectrum than just VR or AR. We are also serving game development companies and computer graphics companies, in addition to VR and AR companies. And we are basically mapping out what are the skill sets that are actually needed in these workplaces. And that will be the basis of the design of the curriculum. There are a couple of interesting things there. Like instead of a graduation thesis, we would like to have a graduation project in our team. We would like to emphasize on portfolios. We would like to emphasize on game jams throughout the 3-year study for the design and development sites to collaborate in. And there are other these kind of interesting design choices that we are currently considering and putting together.
Yeah, we should maybe talk as well. I once went to game design school in Canada. It was long ago, but we ended up in a 6-month project in the end with 20 people. So that was a good time. That's a good way, I think. Cool. I was wanting now to get to Vladimir, because maybe you can kind of give us the non-gamer perspective on education. I guess you can call it in the XR field. Do you see any skills that are super different when you're raising like an engineer that is, not doing a shooting game, but some robotics related application or medical, or do you find like big difference there?
Okay, yeah. So our main aspect of our laboratory, we are doing mainly research, that's true, and we are from a background is most of our team we have 9 people approximately right now, are mechanical engineers from the background or architects. We don't have any of pure computer science people, to be honest. Some of them pursued masters, for example. Even myself are doing right now masters in XR in Ireland here remotely. But if you speak about skill set, all of our team are, let's tell, gamers as well. All of have passion on games, and the aspects of development are not much different. However, they are different from point of view that we mainly work with the physical hardware. So our main work research aspect is robotics. So we work a lot on the operation of robotics. So we work on human-robot interaction concepts, which means still we need to work on user experience design. We need to work on quality of experience. We need to design like how it will be better from user perspective, how user will enjoy this immersive feeling more than he or she is controlling the physical robot with the manual. So basically, I mean, we still use the same concepts. We still, for example, we speak of XR, motion sickness is a problem in game or industrial application, doesn't matter. So we are working on that aspect. We work on how better in interaction make gestures, how interact as much as possible with different objects. But yes, our main aspect is to work with the physical hardware still. But we did some games a bit as well, and we do a lot of different applications, not only industrial, but main aspect is this.
And are you in touch of some of the people that teach? Are they also working in companies that could hire some of the students? Or I'm just trying to also get to this industry school kind of connection, because in some ideal world, you know, you have a teacher that works in a cool company and kind of like scouts, you know, the fitting students throughout his career. Is that connection something you see happening?
So as we as research laboratory, first of all, we and mechanical industrial engineering curriculum, we don't have directly education inside our curriculum of mechanical engineers. I head of production digitalization course, and I somehow integrated their Unity courses for free lectures, where we give insight to students what they can do with this engine. And students who like this concept, who are enjoying this lectures, are coming back to our laboratory, and we give them some small projects on industrial case still. So we are not educating directly this concept, but we are always welcome for students, and we encourage and disseminate it inside the curriculums itself. And from perspective of students, students who come to me, I try to find them projects, and I try to encourage them to stay in academia mainly with me in our lab. And this is how this lab was raised. And however, people leave, of course, and we have some people working in game industry as well in Estonia who came out from our lab and quite successfully. But I aim to hire these people to myself, to be honest, because
there you go. So you're the prime example of this then, hiring from your flock. Rein, you have been, I know, teaching for 4 or 5 years.
Yes.
And not necessarily directly like game development, but like, can you please say if you've also been poaching somebody, or how do you see this? Why do you teach?
Why do you teach?
That's a good. And you're also running your own studio for a long time, as you said. So is there a connection there?
I wish. So I have been teaching virtual reality as a guest lecturer in the University of Tallinn, and the students there are mainly more with a cross-media background. So they have to be aware of a lot of different mediums. And I guess initially I was hoping to grab some talent from there, but I think their profile is a little different, which is interesting because right now in this company, with our company, we are at this phase where we are in this place where we are transforming to a bigger company, and where before a lot of our projects were done by freelancers and some very good freelancer developers who knew VR very well, But now when we have projects where we have 10 people working on a project, it suddenly requires a completely different skill set. And I think that we have actually discovered that we don't so much need like a specialist who does this one thing very well, but rather somebody who is a good problem solver or who has a good technical background, so that they are able to grow into roles as they come and even learn new software platforms and things that they don't have any experience with.
That is really interesting. So if you had a magic wand, that's my question, which I think maybe everybody can answer, like what or who wish, what would you like to be different in how Estonian schools and VR AR companies cooperate? Like if you could change something, anyone can take this.
A huge number of very well prepared VR experts and VR developers would be very welcome.
And what can you maybe describe a bit more what skill sets you're looking for are? Like you said, good problem solver and technical background and so on, but like should they be able to do some basic stuff in Unreal 5?
Yeah, we mainly work in game engines, Unity and Unreal. Recently we switched to mainly Unreal. And while it would be perfect if we had a large pool of Unreal developers to hire from as our needs arise, this is not the case at all. In fact, I think there are very few Unreal developers in Estonia. And we are considering to hire people who have no skills in Unreal Engine and teach them that. So yeah, if there was a magic wand, I would definitely change that.
Nice. Anyone else? Vladimir, Raimond?
I can second what was just said by Rein about the absence of developers. And I think, at least from my perspective, it's not just about Unreal Engine being difficult to learn. It's not. I mean, it's super user-friendly. There's an abundance of materials online. It's not very expensive. We're actually running free courses within the company right now for non-technical employees or those who are trained in Unity. For example, I'm doing the same course, 15 hours digital programming with blueprints in Unreal Engine and materials and lighting and basically everything. So it's not like senior level expertise, but it's a good start, and you can actually build stuff after you do this. Could be done on your own as well. So to me, it's not just the absence of opportunity, but just general lack of driven people with this kind of hunger directed towards our industry or industries that would later kind of steer them towards high competency that we seek.
Amen. I lived half of my life abroad, so also that's been my feeling a lot. But I'm sure they are somewhere. I just need to find them. Anything, Vlad, Raimond? What about the educational part? So now we had the company. What's coming from the company side?
Yes, so I would hope that this magic wand that both of you, Rein and Vlad, are looking for will be us. But this is exactly the problem we are trying to solve. That where would these Unreal Engine developers come from, and is it just Unreal Engine? How many Unity developers do companies need? Do they need skills in both? So some a short like sneak preview of the results we have gathered so far is that several companies need people who are skilled in both of these engines, not just one. And it is explicit that it doesn't, some alternative engine isn't gonna work. So all of these questions, first we need to find these answers for, and then we can make a curriculum that actually serves this very purpose of producing these skilled people and giving them a future in an industry that's really amazing. I don't know about this lack of hunger. Like, where does this come from? Is it because there's no formal way for people to get into this industry, and only people who are very individually motivated can push through and learn these tools and follow this, or is there some other reason? I really don't know. I think for me, like the biggest aspiration would be that this process of mapping these needs of the industry out and building a curriculum that actually serves these needs would already be done. So it's a very long process. The application of a new curriculum alone will take 1.5 to 2 years. So my wish with the wand would be that we would be already 3-4 years into the future, or maybe even 6 years, and you would already get these people out of the curriculum.
Cool. Yeah, I just also wanted to note that there are like, many tools you can learn, but in the way the underlying process of how to be like a good engineer, or which is even more basic, like, or if you learn art, you basically should know how to look at things, and it's a whole bunch of things before you get to your Mayas and I don't even know what kids use nowadays, ZBrushes and Houdinis and whatever, whatever was there 10 years ago, is what I know. Great. What about people from abroad then? It seems like the next natural kind of way of thinking, right? That if you don't have enough people here, then either we should get foreign students who are maybe more hungry to come learn in Estonian universities, or they could just come to work straight away, or we could have like a remote people. And I know in gaming it's a little not so good because there's a lot of interaction and innovation and iteration. But yeah, what do you guys think about foreign either students or employees? I don't know. Vlad has a probably very funny, not funny, but probably interesting times with a abroad office. But if you'd like to start, where do you see this ideally, at least?
Yeah, I've been smiling because I'm in the office right now, and here in Tallinn we have 1,500 square meters, and I think today we have 15 people attendance. That's 100 square meters per person, which is 10 times the official requirement by the labor authority, I think. It's officially. So it's very spacious, at least. But that's mainly because we've been remote for a while, not just because of the Corona-induced changes in our culture, but even before that, we've been hiring everywhere. Mostly, I mean, obviously, the main reason is that we just couldn't find nearly enough talent locally. We couldn't relocate nearly enough talent, no matter how we tried. And also, a secondary factor is that the tools, like the communication tools, the collaboration tools, have gotten much better. So now we are finding it much easier to collaborate on visual, say, mockups and like project documentation in tools like Miro or Figma, and it's really easy to press, I think, Control, Shift H in Slack and initiate voice talk immediately without having to set up a meeting. And we've been taking advantage of all these tools to kind of shorten the distance between people. Obviously, it doesn't fully supersede and substitute in-person interaction. We found that in 95% of cases, for most professional needs, you can get away with a suite of appropriate communication tools and practices and cultural agreements. And then the remaining 5% is basically reading body language and reading between the lines, and it's very subtle, almost political things about how people communicate. I don't know how many people are remote, honestly, and how many are local. I don't know, and I don't care. We've kind of become location agnostic a while ago. I can only say with certainty that this is workable.
Mm-hmm. Rein, maybe you have a smaller studio. Would you like to see 2 people in Saaremaa or something, or yeah. I don't know, in Finland?
Even with a small number of employees, we very rarely seem to be able to meet in the same room. We have 2 employees in Tartu and some in Tallinn. So if some people are in another city anyways, then it doesn't make that much sense to come to the office in Tallinn. So yeah, remote work, I think, is something that to kind of deal with. But it would be very nice to have people meeting every once in a while.
And just before I get to the education side, so for Vlad, did you ever consider like moving yourself to some developer heaven, whatever that would be?
That'd be pointless. I mean, I don't develop games myself anymore, only as a hobby. So I'm just, a talking head. It could be anywhere. I might be replaced by AI, and people wouldn't notice. So that wouldn't serve a greater purpose. Having a physical presence somewhere, like a place people can come to and talk to each other, is nice. But honestly, this is not very high on the list of our problems that need fixing.
Great. So VR maybe can do. And what about Raimond, Vladimir? We are about 2 minutes until the end. How do you handle, like, how do you think about having foreign students? Maybe Raimond in your program, or Vladimir as well, or or working remotely. Okay. Might as well.
I'll start then. So I mean, I am in Ireland right now, and managing a team in Estonia. So somehow works. So, and from international students' perspective, I mean, most of students are present in Estonia. However, in our team, most of students are international students. I think I'm not the only one local, let's tell you, even I'm remotely at the moment, but we have a few only local people. However, it doesn't matter really much. All communication is in English anyway, and the main let's tell priority for me is that people are encouraged, and I personally prefer office, to be honest, especially when we work with hardware, because we have a laboratory, we have a lot of hardware and robots. We can put robots at the home if we speak about heavy industrial robot, but remote works out for sure for some parts, but some parts should be done in the office. But I prefer to honestly having, if I have like 5 meetings in a row, I prefer having them online when I can switch much more easier. That's my perspective from that point of view. But all these tools like Slack and everything works out, even in academia. I mean, we use it every day, all these processes and pipelines and agile styles and so on.
Great to hear. Raimond, final thoughts?
Yes, so that's a very complicated question to answer in, I don't know, -1 minute. So, of course, in the University of Tartu, we have lots of international students, and we are internationally known university, and there's a lot of the education is in English, which is one of the points we're getting criticized for, that a lot of the education is in English, because we're a national university, so we need to also teach and develop the Estonian vocabulary and the field in Estonian. And when we're creating a new bachelor curriculum, it will be like an easier sell if we make it in Estonian. So right now it's meant to be an Estonian curriculum. So that's basically my short answer, that it's a very complicated question, and we have nothing against international students, but we also want to teach in our national language and develop that. So it's kind of a tricky situation.
It's a really interesting point. Yeah, hopefully it's not. Yeah, it's still possible to include those people with hunger, no matter where they come from, or maybe even people can study online a lot of the time, fly in for the important things. Cool. Thank you all very much. A lot of interesting points here. Definitely remember the hungry students and the new awesome curriculum coming in a couple of years, who will solve all our talent issues. Thank you all. It was very nice, and now I think I'll give it to Teemu if you want to have some closing words.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you guys for participating. I think the content was great and awesome, and you guys need to put the curriculums in order, because we always tend to look towards Estonia to get some more employment for our project as well. So if you guys are short on experts, then we are in serious. Well, I was about to say something that is not proper for recording, but yeah, we need to fix that together, I think, and find find a good way to get the actual people to execute on the projects that will be on hand. That it's not going to be less projects, but more projects in the future for sure. So this is actually for the entire world to solve the problem that who is going to create the content when everything is going from 2D to 3D. That is the kind of key, and who is going to do that. So well, the ones that you know it, so you know what to study. Now, excellent. Thank you, everybody. This was a great overview on Estonian XR scene. Thank you, Märt, especially for EVR and arranging this. This was totally yours. I was just here to listen in. So thanks a lot, and definitely looking forward to seeing you guys in the next ones as listeners and participants as well. And do explore the platform, the org.live, and let's have more content there together. So thank you, everybody. And this was Overnight Northern XR, ISO Estonia. Thank you, everybody. And it's a good night from me.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.